Once upon a time, in a village nestled between rolling hills and thick forest, there lived a beautiful girl named Amora. She was known far and wide not just for her beauty but for her kindness and wisdom. Many young men sought her hand in marriage, but she turned them all down, for her heart desired something more, something extraordinary. Amora's village believed in spirits and ancestors. They often said that the spirits of the dead watched over the living and could intervene in their lives, both for good and ill. The elders told stories of how the living and the dead sometimes crossed paths, and how sometimes the dead would come to the living in disguise. But to Amora, these were just stories, nothing more than tales to entertain children and guide behavior. One day, while walking along the riverbank, Amora met a handsome and mysterious young man named Kofi. He was unlike anyone she had ever seen. His skin seemed to shimmer under the sunlight, and his eyes glowed with a deep, ancient wisdom. He had an air of elegance and calm that immediately drew Amora to him. Kofi introduced himself, saying that he was from a faraway land, and he had come to her village seeking a wife. Amora, intrigued by his charm and mystery, felt her heart stir in a way it never had before. Over the following weeks, Kofi and Amora spent more time together. He would often visit her at the riverbank, where they would talk for hours. He told her stories of distant lands, filled with riches and wonders beyond her imagination. Despite his mysterious nature and the fact that no one else in the village seemed to know him, Amora fell deeply in love with him. When Kofi asked for her hand in marriage, she accepted without hesitation. However, there was one condition. Kofi told Amora that he could only take her to his homeland if she promised never to ask about his past or where he came from. In her love-struck state, Amora agreed, eager to begin her new life with him. On the day of the wedding, Kofi led Amora deep into the forest, far from the village. The deeper they went, the more Amora noticed the world around her changing. The trees grew taller, the air became cooler, and the sunlight seemed to dim. Soon, they reached a strange clearing where the earth seemed to glow beneath their feet, and the wind whispered through the trees. "Welcome to my home," Kofi said, gesturing around the clearing. Amora was confused. She had expected to find a village or a grand house, but there was nothing. She looked at Kofi, and for the first time, fear began to creep into her heart. Something about the place felt unnatural. That night, they slept in the clearing under the stars. Amora's sleep was restless, filled with strange dreams. She dreamed of shadows whispering to her, of voices from the trees calling her name. When she awoke, Kofi was gone, but a chill lingered in the air. She called out for him, but there was no answer. Days passed, and still, Kofi did not return. Left alone in the eerie clearing, Amora began to explore. As she ventured deeper into the forest, she came across a small hut hidden behind a dense thicket of trees. Inside, she found an old woman sitting by a fire. The old woman smiled at her kindly and motioned for her to sit down. "You must be Amora," the woman said, her voice raspy yet gentle. Amora nodded, surprised. "How do you know my name?" The old woman stirred the fire, her eyes reflecting its glow. "I know many things. I know that you have married someone who is not of this world." Amora's heart sank. "What do you mean?" The old woman sighed deeply. "The man you married, Kofi, is not a man at all. He is a spirit, a ghost from the land of the dead. He has taken you as his bride, but he cannot stay with you for long. His word is different from ours, and soon, you will see it for yourself." Amora was shocked. She had heard stories of spirits, but she never imagined she would marry one. "But he loves me," she protested. "He wouldn't leave me here." The old woman shook her head. "The dead do not love as we do. Their ways are strange, and their bonds with the living are fleeting. You must leave this place before it is too late, or you will be trapped in his world forever." Confused and terrified, Amora returned to the clearing. That night, Kofi reappeared, his eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. Amora confronted him, demanding to know the truth. At first, Kofi denied it, but seeing the fear in her eyes, he finally confessed. "Yes, I am a spirit," Kofi admitted. "I come from the land of the dead, and I fell in love with you because your soul shines brighter than any other. But I cannot stay with you forever. My world and yours are separated by a veil, and soon, I must return." Amora's heart broke. She had given everything for Kofi, and now she learned that their love could not last. But worse still, Kofi revealed that the longer she stayed with him, the more she would fade from the world of the living. "I have already taken part of your essence," Kofi said softly. "If you remain here, you will belong to the land of the dead, just like me." Amora was devastated. She loved Kofi, but she didn't want to die. The old woman's warning echoed in her mind. With tears in her eyes, she begged Kofi to release her. He hesitated, his love for her evident, but he knew that their time together had to end. "I will let you go," Kofi said at last, his voice heavy with sorrow. "But you must promise to never return to this place." Amora agreed, her heart aching with the weight of her decision. The next morning, Kofi led her back through the forest, guiding her to the edge of the village. As they stood at the boundary between the living and the dead, Kofi kissed her forehead one last time. "Farewell, Amora," he whispered. "I will watch over you from my world, but you must live your life fully in yours." With that, Kofi disappeared, leaving Amora alone at the village's edge. She returned to her people, forever changed by her experience. Though she never spoke of her time with Kofi, she carried his memory in her heart, knowing that their love, though brief, had been real. Amora lived the rest of her days in peace, always looking out at the forest, wondering if Kofi's spirit still watched over her from the shadows. And though she never saw him again, she knew that the veil between their worlds had not broken, it had simply thinned for a moment, long enough for them to share a love that could not last, yet would never be forgotten.